Some places don't take MAP. Know your limits before you apply. So Stephanie here, I've been a nurse forever. I was director of health services, sorry. And I am here to help you pass your medication administration test or Meditech, and some states have a different name. So for context, I want you to know that I'm in the state of Massachusetts. Now, this is so important for you to understand where you can work with your MAP certification that I'm simply going to read it. I am in the responsibilities and action curriculum for the state of Massachusetts. And because I'm making these videos on YouTube, I'm always going to clarify that you need to check with your own state, okay? So limitations of the MAP certification. MAP certification is not valid for administration of medication to people who are under the age of 18 in DDS and mass ability sites. So if you watch my other videos of where you can work for a DDS group home, but it has to be adults, okay? And so watch both of these and go check out our playlists as we're breaking down all things MAP. All right, now I'm going to review the list of sites that you're not able to use it. Now, before I even read off this list, I want to tell you what I tell my students. It would be great if a company never put you in any compromising position, right? Obviously. But also, when you are certified, the expectation is that you understand the scope and practice of your job, meaning you know what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. So I want to make that very clear, that you're not always going to be able to say they made me and they told me, because they're going to say, did you know that you're not supposed to do that? Does that make sense? So you can't just present as someone who doesn't know anything and just does whatever is asked. When you go to school to be a nursing assistant, they expect that you understand the scope of your job and you're not in there performing surgery, right? Obviously, that example is a bit ridiculous, but it proves the point that that's why they ask you test questions, that you understand what you're supposed to do, what you can do, what you're allowed to do, and what you're not supposed to do. So I'm going to read where, again, in the state of Massachusetts, you are not allowed to administer medications using your MAP certification. You are not allowed to administer meds in assisted living facilities. You're not allowed to administer meds in what's called CBAT, which is community-based acute treatment. You are not allowed to administer meds in community crisis stabilization, CCC. You are not allowed to administer meds in correctional facilities. You are not allowed to administer med in crisis intervention centers. You are not allowed to administer meds in day habilitation. You are not allowed to administer meds in Department of Youth Services. You are not allowed to administer meds in detox centers. You're not allowed to administer meds in home care. I hear a lot of things. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of things that my students are saying to me. You're not allowed to administer medications in hospitals. You're not allowed to administer meds in hospital diversion centers. You're not allowed to administer meds as the acronym is ICBAT, which is intensive community-based acute treatment. You're not allowed to administer meds in IRTP, which is intensive residential treatment programs. You're not allowed to administer meds in nursing homes. You're not allowed to administer meds in restrooms. You're not allowed to administer meds in schools, which is public or private. You're not allowed to administer meds in stabilization programs. And you're not allowed to administer meds in DDS, DMH, DCF, and mass ability sites that do not have a Massachusetts Controlled Substance Registration, which is a MAP MCSR from the Department of Public Health. And usually they'll have it like pinned up on the wall where people could see it and it's visible. So let's talk about if you're working somewhere and they're asking you to do things you're not allowed to do. Sometimes you can find it hard to defend yourself or advocate for yourself. I would say it depends on where the person is on the ladder. Maybe you seek somebody higher up. And I know that you want to be essential, and especially in this economic times, walking away from a job is tough, right? So I think what you need to do is really truly during the interview, get a clear understanding of your job responsibilities and your scope. I would save the job description for which you applied and say you eventually got the job, save it. Usually part of human resources HR, you sign the job description, always ask to be trained for something, and maybe an email. You could voice your concerns always in a professional manner, an email. And I think if it becomes a situation, I think you highly look into finding another position. So again, my students, I always tell them there's 3 things you protect: your patient, your back, and your license. You work too hard. You don't want to lose this. And if you're not supposed to do it, you want to operate in an ethical manner, in a legal manner. All right. So make sure you just listen to that. Again, this is the regulations for Massachusetts. Responsibilities in action. And if your state operates in a different manner, I would love for you to leave it in the comments. All right. Take care. Bye.